Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. We are back in the building. How's everybody doing this morning? It's Monday, y'all. And because it's Monday, I'd like to welcome you to Morning Motivation, your daily dose of inspiration and empowerment. I'm your host, Jamar, and I'm thrilled to have you join us as we kickstart our day with positivity and purpose. So, whether you're here to seek motivation, connect with like minded individuals, or simply get your day started on the right foot, you've come to the right place. And on your way in, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new to the stream, it's okay. You can say hello. I promise you, we won't bite. Well, I can't speak for everybody. But most of us won't bite unless you want us to. But anywho, if you want to buy your boy a cup of coffee because it's early out here in these streets, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. Let me move my chat so I can see y'all just a little bit better. Where we at? There we go. All right, all right. Shout out to Auntie Canada. Heard that bug done swarm on over there and got her. I'm telling y'all, man, if you guys are traveling, you guys are doing anything right now in these streets, the best thing you can do, especially if there's a lot of people around, I don't want to tell you to social distance. I don't want to tell you to put a mask on, but it might be necessary, especially if somebody around you is susceptible to having a seriously bad outcome because of a COVID infection. So my prayers go up, or our prayers go up to Auntie Canada. Hope you get better soon. All right, what are we talking about today? What are we talking about today? My mic seems like it's a little hot. I think I know what it is. Hold on. My mic is a little hot. Okay, yeah. Is that better? Because it was super hot. All right, cool. All right, so what are we talking about? What are we talking about today? Appreciate that on that intro. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to be incorporating a few things over the next, mm, let's say, couple of weeks. Going to be adding a few things. Yeah, I know. I'm working on that too. I appreciate it, yo. There's a few things that with the software that I'm working with, it can be a little buggy. Just a little buggy sometimes. But I think I'm close though. I think I'm close. So let's see. Da-da-da. Yeah, I don't know. It's not giving me what it's supposed to give me right now. So, but we live, so I can't do too much about it at the moment. So, what I do want to start out with though is another. Oh man, I can't even do that. It's not showing me any of it. Well, you know what they say. Some of the best laid plans. Some of the best laid plans, man. I don't know. I got a bunch of new overlays and things that I want to start throwing on the screen, but for some reason, it's is acting really froggy right now. So anyway, let's go ahead and get on to today's show. One of the things that, if you think about, we all go through a lot of stress. We go through a lot of life happenings. There's a lot of things that give us reasons to be frustrated that increases our anxiety levels. So today's topic, we're talking about how to find safe outlets without the fear of judgment. Can anybody tell me what a safe space is? Your own definition. What is a safe space? What is your definition of a safe space? What is your definition of a safe space? That's what we're going to talk about today. And this week, in general, we're going to be dealing a little bit with stress, because one of the things that causes us to have sickness and untimely situations that occur is we're under a lot of stress. We're under a lot of anxiety and pressures and trying to get things worked out and figured out, and keeping our families healthy. And that lowers sometimes our immune system, and it makes us more susceptible to picking up certain little bugs. So what is your definition of a safe space? Bobby says a space that you can be yourself in without fear of being hurt emotionally, mentally, or physically. Wow, that's a very concise definition. Very concise definition. I appreciate that, because that's pretty much what a safe space is. It's an environment where an individual feels secure, accepted, no discrimination, no bias, no harassment of any form. It's a space where you can let down your hair, your authentic, real self. Your hair, as they say, can be let down. You can truly be you, and without worrying about any judgments that comes from it. And so many of you already know this, but the last 7 months of my life has been a hodgepodge of emotions. It's been a roller coaster, and I know I'm not alone. But for those of you who may be new to the show or may catch this stream a little later, the last 7 months of my life have consisted of moving into a new home, moving a parent in who's in hospice, the death of another parent, a crazy work schedule, a lot. But then there's also birthdays, and my youngest son graduated from high school and starting his life out, helping him get his first car. There's been so many things that's happened. And then you throw on top of that the transitioning in careers, the stresses that are involved in that, unsteady paychecks, obligations, financial, family. And there's only so much a person can take before the stress becomes too much. And then you find yourself being chippy with everybody around you. You find yourself arguing with significant others and children and sisters and brothers and cousins. I mean, just unnecessary arguments. And there's so many things that can happen that could take our life from just being stressful to being unbearable. And it happens very often. Very, very often. And people are wound up every day waiting. They're like a time bomb, just waiting to go off. And then we live in a culture where people almost look to be offended. They look for somebody to look a wrong way or say a wrong thing or something that sets them off, and they want to go off on them. And what they don't realize is that they're doing, in some cases, irreparable damage to their reputation, to how other people around them that had a lot of respect for them, it taints it a little bit. It taints it a little bit. And so one of the things that I have been doing lately is I've been getting away, taking a little small fishing excursions, but I wasn't finding it to be enough. But I didn't really know what to do about it. I mean, I talked to, we have a family therapist. So I talked to my therapist, and those conversations help. They help. They help unpack some things. But they don't quite get down to the nitty gritty. Don't quite get down to where I need them to be. And so that has been somewhat of a struggle for me lately. Until this weekend. There were a bunch of things happening this weekend. And so Saturday morning, I'm out doing some car maintenance. And a family member just so happened to be there. And she was talking about how great of a morning it was. And man, it's been a great day to go to the beach. And I was thinking, yeah, man, you should do that. And she said, I do not have time. She said, but you should do it. I said, excuse me? She said, you should do it, though. I was like, nah, I ain't really got to. I got stuff to do, but it's nothing that can't wait. So I leave her and go do a few more things. And on the way home, the thought is growing in my mind more and more and more. And so I said, you know what? I'm going fishing. I'm going to take a last-minute fishing trip, but I ain't going to my lake. I'm going to the coast. And I thought about going by myself for a hot second. But then I called my brother at the last minute.
How you doing, Brother Craig? How you doing?
I called my brother at the last second. And, of course, he was happy to go. And now that I think about it, I probably would have had more of a problem had I not invited him. Because he loves fishing just as much, if not more, than I do. And a chance to get away to do that, that's life-giving for him, too. So we decide, I hopped in the car, I went and picked him up, and we head for the coast. Like 2:45, 3-hour drive. We get down there, it's probably about 5:30-ish. And probably 6 hours. 6 hours into this trip, he asked me a question. He said, do you feel, actually I might need some music, a little music with this, hold on. He said, do you feel relaxed yet? Because he'd been around me for, a couple days here and there throughout the week. And he saw my stress levels, how high they were. And so he says, do you feel relaxed yet? And I said, man, I was relaxed from the moment we got here. From the moment I was able to cast my line in the water, I was relaxed. I was good. And we went to this pier. We was on the coast of the Morehead City, Atlantic Beach area, for those of you who know North Carolina. And we had a good time. This was the first fish that I caught. Now, I'm not exactly sure what this fish is, but it looked like a dragon. It has wings. It has some bottom fins that allows it to walk on the sand, and that's how and dig in the sand. That's how he finds his food. I knew the name of it, but it's such a new fish to me that it slips my mind. So here's from another angle. It's Yeah, exactly. I don't know what that was. I knew somebody told me. Hold on, let me see. Let me see. Can I find it? I think I did try to find it on my phone. But and then Craig messed around and caught this little fish. We didn't know what it was, but turns out that is a puffer fish. Joker had green eyes. Had teeth almost like a human. Look at it, it's green and blue. They changing colors. It's a fish chicken. What up, Health Talk? Yeah, man. I had to send that one back. Definitely had to send that one back, bro. Look at now. He said cheese. He's smiling for the camera. He is smiling for the camera. No, I can't find it. I'll have to look it up again though. But it's there. But anyway, we go on through the night and we're fishing. And as it gets dark now, and I pulled this monstrosity up out of the water. This joker was hooked onto my line and would not let go. Now the pictures, you know how the pictures are. Exactly like a dragonfly, right? But you know how pictures go. They don't give you the full scale when you just at one angle. But I caught, and I should have took a video of this joker. He was breakdancing and everything. Then I caught a little baby shark. Little baby shark. I mean, all in all, we had a very, very, very good outing. We caught plenty of fish. We caught plenty of like little small pinfish, and I caught a couple of bluefish, but I didn't really get any pictures of those because activity had picked up a lot, so I didn't have time to really do a lot of snapping in between. And I didn't want my lines to be all about there acting all strange. And so we fished from probably 6 o'clock to roughly 2:30 in the morning. And the only reason we stopped then because it was a real bad storm that was inland, but it was nah, I'm not eating that. Oh yeah, I feel you. It was like nothing. I didn't even want to try to figure out how to clean that thing, how to fillet it up. Wasn't interested. But it was interesting to watch though. Some things in the ocean we have no idea about. To this day, we still don't know everything that's in that ocean. And so a storm was inland, and then somewhere about 2 o'clock, people were leaving and said, "Yeah, it's a bad storm that's coming this way." I pulled up my radar and I looked at it, and it seemed like it was gonna just miss us. So we were content to stay for a little while longer until this really cold wind. I mean, it was a cold wind that it went from like probably 89 degrees to 73 degrees. So much though, it put like chill bumps on us. And he said, "You feel that?" I'm like, "What?" And then like 10 seconds later, I'm like, "Woo. Okay, yeah, it's time to pack this thing up. It's time to pack it up." So that's what we did. We packed it up. We got ready to get up out of there. And at this time of the morning, we hadn't eaten anything. We left home 2 o'clock. We had a couple of snacks on the way down, but we didn't eat anything, so we're starving. And we finally found a place to go get a quick sandwich, some refill on the drinks, use the bathroom, and we hit the road. And on the road, that's when it happened. On the road, that's when it happened.
How you doing, Brother Craig? How you doing?
Y'all, I laid myself bare. My emotions, my thoughts, my feelings. all the anger that had been bottled up inside of me came out as I'm driving. And it was just one topic of conversation that made me feel a way. And it was nothing that he did, nothing that he said that triggered me. It was just I had been sitting on this precipice, if you will. And when people tell you to do self-care, talk to somebody, we generally think, I'm gonna go pamper myself, or I'm gonna go get some physical activity, some exercise, and that helps in the moment. But it doesn't fully clear the system. It doesn't fully unlock what's really happening. And so in the car, I talked about, well, I won't tell you what I talked about, but it was definitely concerning, future things, projects, endeavors. And so I just want to apologize to my brother. I didn't disrespect him, so I don't want you to think, I was sitting there, backhanding him while we was driving. I wasn't out there saying,
I'm a pimp named Slickback.
I wasn't giving him the business like that. But I didn't realize how much pent up frustration I had. And I'm walking around here every day being stoic because I don't know how to get it off my chest. And that's how most of us are. Put a 1 in the chat if you felt that way. You go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And you're supposed to feel better once you went and had your alone time. You were supposed to feel better when you went and you had, a girl's night out or a guy's night out. You were supposed to feel better, and you did in the moment. But as you're driving away, as you get back to your home, as you get back to the office, the place wherever the challenge was, or one of the places the challenges could have been, those same feelings, those same emotions, they creep back on you. That same monkey jumps on your back. Well, I didn't know there was another level. I didn't know that there's a process that breaks it off of you, that releases it from you. I thought I could just go take a fishing trip, go listen to some music, go, hang out with the fellas, just fellowship a little bit. And in the moment, yes, I feel great. I feel amazing. But then Monday morning hits, and I got to go into the office. Or it's 1 a.m., and I'm pulling up in my driveway, and I got to put that key in the door. Or it's been 2 days, and I see a number come across my phone that I hadn't talked to in a couple of days because there was some challenges. I'm being real with y'all right now. And then everything that you thought you had worked out, it jumps squarely back on you. And knowing what to do in that moment is hard, because now you're dealing with the emotions of what happened in the past, the wasted time. Man, I just got out. I feel better now. I'm back here again. There's a hopeless feeling that comes with that. And sometimes we snap. We snap at the most unexpected times. And that's what jams so many of us up. We lose friendships, we lose relationships. And it probably really wasn't that person's fault because they were going through their own stuff. The company been had this policy. They just never enforced it. Now today of all days, they want to enforce it with me. They want to come talking slick to me.
Who gonna check me, boo?
Who go check me, boo? Next thing you know, you're looking for a new job. Next thing you know, you're bringing home flowers, or you're doing extra stuff that you know you probably should have been doing, but you hadn't done. So you want to smooth things over. So you're going to go ahead and take care of some things. Stress, anxiety. We're talking about finding safe spaces or safe outlets without the fear of judgment. And when I tell you I went in, I think the conversation started somewhere around 4:15. 4:15 a.m. We're probably still an hour and a half from the house. And I started. He gave me some feedback. And then I amped it up a little bit. And I should have known the moment he got quiet, like crickets quiet, I should have known I was going in at that point. And I was going in. My blood pressure was up. My voice had got deep. I'm like, yo, hey, yo, yo. I'm like DMX in this camp. And I'm bop, 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 bop. I'm holding the wheel. And another thing, I'm going in, y'all. And I didn't even realize I was going in until I looked over at him. And he was just like, oh man, yeah. Because I've never been the guy who, I don't mind laughing, but I've never been the guy who could take like the joning, the cracking of the jokes. Cause I start to feel away. And I be wanting to put hands. And so when I get to a point, I'm used to being able to go wrestle or box or something. And so the things that would exhaust me and deplete me, I can't do those things anymore. Well, at least not how I used to do them, and not at the same level. And so I've taken the space of, I'ma just be silent. Because y'all know the tongue is a powerful weapon, and it can be reckless when you in your feelings. That chick yo said, Hulk smash. I might need to get that sounder, Hulk smash. And shout out to Craig, man. Craig gave me, at the end of my tirade, he gave me a lot of good feedback. He asked me some really thought-provoking questions, and it really made me think on a deeper level. But an amazing thing happened. When I pulled up in my yard at 6:15 or 6 a.m. Sunday morning, the sun brought me home. The sun rose and brought me home. That would have been a problem, when I was growing up. Or if I had a less secure wife, that might have been a problem. But she got my location. She can always see where I'm at for the most part. But I came in, it was 6 a.m. The sun was just rising good. And when I go to enter my home, I don't feel anything. I feel at peace. I feel like getting away was the best thing that I could have done. Came in, I took a shower because I did not want to get in the bed smelling like shrimp and squid. Took a nice good shower, laid in the bed. And when I woke up, it was 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Body was exhausted. I was good. But then I got up and I was able to work with a clear mind for the first time in weeks. And I got a lot of work done, which is why I'm ticked that this doggone software isn't allowing me to. I can't even put my doggone logo up. Nothing. Just blank. It's just a blank screen looking at me like, what you want me to do? Now, when I get off this thing, I'm going to restart it and it's going to work like it's supposed to. But the irony is, everything else is working like it's supposed to. Y'all saw part of the new intro, and that's by no ways finished yet. It's just, I'm building it as we flying it. And I'm going to be slowly adding things to the show. But it's hard to do new things when you're not level-headed. It's hard to be in the mindset that you need to have when you're not level-headed. When you're full of anxiety and you're stressed. The joys in life aren't even as joyful. Aren't even as joyful. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about safe outlets. That chick says it's Monday. Software apparently it still got to wake up. But I'm just glad the stream is working. Because at first when I hit the go live button, the screen was black for a few minutes. I'm like, what the world? Okay. All right. It was working perfectly last night. But anyway, we're talking about safe outlets. So I know we've covered this before, but let's do it again. What are some healthy activities that y'all do? What are some healthy outlets that you have, that you turn to? What's your go-to when the stress happens, when the anxiety builds up, and you need to reset? What do you do? I know D-Rob's not with us today, but D-Rob would normally say, I go to the gym, shot a Hennessy and a cigar. And as you grow, it shifts. It changes. When I was younger, I was on that line with D-Rob. I would go to the gym, straight to the gym. And I would work out whatever frustration I had. Then I would also do some horizontal work. For those who catch the meaning. I would also self-medicate. I had like 4 things that I would do when I felt stressed. 4 things. Only really one of those things was healthy. Because at the time I wasn't married, so I'm out here just exercising. Putting myself in all kinds of risk, all kinds of danger, all kinds of harm. Case says I go walking. I walk as far as Forrest Gump. Oh man, that's fine. Shout out to Kay. She said I walk as far as Forrest Gump ran in order to reset. That's some walking, girl. Oh man, but it's also healthy. Auntie Canada says, I write, cook, shut away, pray, and listen to praise and worship. Ooh, music soothes the savage beast. Yes. All are very good ways to release. As I got older, and then now I'm not just older, but I'm married. I'm not just older and married, but I also have children. I have a career. I have a lot of things pulling on me. So now I just can't go out there and do the random horizontal exercises anymore. And sometimes that challenge might have been with my wife. And so she already on my nerves. She ain't gonna relieve none of my stress because she on my nerves already. I ain't finding no peace at home because the kids are daddy, 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 daddy. Can we? Why is this? Why is that? So there's no peace at home. The things that I used to do, I can't necessarily go do anymore. And so music became a thing. Writing, reading became a thing. And that was a very healthy outlet. But what I would find out is, after I wrote what I was writing, I couldn't let nobody read it, especially if it was about them. Because that's another whole problem. Health Talk says daily meditation. Listen to a lot of Alan Watts, Eckhart Tolle, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Yeah, all three very good. I've learned to let go and do the inner work. That's really all that works for me. Yeah. And as I got into my 40s, that's what I started doing more. Listening to people who did mindset talks, reading books that would steer me toward my goals, and dreams. Reading books that would not just entertain me, but feed my spirit. So I read the Bible a lot. Listen to a lot of praise and worship. And what I started learning was that mentally I was becoming stronger. Mentally I was able to walk away faster from challenging situations. Mentally, I was able to recover faster. I was able to recover a lot faster. And then I started realizing that it took longer for things to annoy me. It took longer for people to get on my nerves. Because that mental muscle was growing. And then as I found a therapist that I don't mind talking to, a therapist that's not perceived judging me. And the therapist that we have right now, shout out to Marlena. Shout out to Marlena Rogers. Because the problem that a lot of guys have with going to therapy is that most therapists in nature, at least in my experience, have been ladies. And that's not the problem per se. The problem is when I go into therapy, because of the sisterhood, where my sisterhood stuff at? Because of the sisterhood, I always find myself feeling like I'm being double teamed. Even if the issue wasn't blatantly my fault, it seemed like it was turned to be my fault. And so I started taking the attitude, so you want me to go pay somebody money to criticize me and make me feel bad? So I opted out of doing therapy for years. And then I went to a guy therapist at some point by myself. It wasn't a couples thing, it was by myself. And I'm talking to this guy and we hit it off at first. But it eventually ended up being a thing where he wasn't hearing me. He would say, well, let's look at things from your wife's perspective for a second. And I would say, okay. So how do you think she felt when you said this or when you did this? And I would tell him. Do you think you could have handled it in a better way? And as he's going down that line of questioning, I'm like, me and my wife, we've addressed that already. I apologize, and going forward, this is what I plan to do. But that's not why I'm here, dude. It's not why I'm here. I need you to help me unpack some stuff. not deal with the surface level stuff. He said, okay, well, let's practice mindfulness. And at the time, mindfulness was still it's not as culturally, recognizable as it is now. I'm like, what's that? He says, this is where you focus on your breathing and I'm like, okay, bro, I don't need coping mechanisms. I need to, you know what? Thank you for your time. I will no longer give you money to teach you how to do what I think your job should be. So I stopped going. Then I tried it one more time in a couples therapy, and that was a complete disaster. It was a complete disaster. So I vowed then I'm never doing therapy again.
Who gonna check me, boo?
Never doing therapy again. And then in my 40s, I started to realize I had some recurring patterns in my life, whether it was relationships, whether it was in the career space, whether it was just interpersonal communications and relations. In my mind, I had some blocks set up, and I didn't understand why they were set up and why when I would get to a point and I would just stop. I wouldn't go any further. And if I was going to be the person I needed to be, I had to go past that block. And so I started reading a bunch of books. I went through a lot of stuff, but I refused to go to therapy. But it wasn't until my wife started making her transition into some new roles and into her mature season, her womanhood, her responsibility, when she really started transitioning into that phase, because it is a transition. And she introduced me to a therapist, and she was cool, but I did it mostly for my wife. Of course, that didn't last too long. But then Marlena Rogers, she grabbed me around my neck. She made me sit down. And all she did was smile at me and said, oh, I understand. I do understand that. Tell me more. And then I began to vent with her. She didn't judge me. Her facial expression didn't change. She not one time said, well, how would your wife feel about that? She was focused squarely on me. And I got more comfortable talking to her. And it was at that point I was able to really she was able to help me start unpacking some stuff. She introduced me to the attachment styles. See, the difference between a therapist who does it as a profession and a person who does it from the heart, it's light years apart. Because she understood her job is not only to guide, but to be a sounding board, to not cast judgment, to make it a safe space. What happens here stays here. And I even tested her, because I sent my youngest son to her for a few minutes. And I'd be trying to, ease around the curve and, and kind of backdoor her with, yeah, my son told me y'all had a session, what I'm saying? He said it was good, so what you think about it? She said, yeah, so you were saying that I'm just like, so you ain't gonna even bite it off, huh? She like, nope. And we can laugh together. If it gets hot in the room and my eyes start sweating, she hands me a digital or a virtual Kleenex. So I found a safe space, but it took me 5 tries to find that safe space. It took me 5 tries to find that safe space. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I didn't give up on it, because I've grown. But Saturday night, Sunday morning, driving home with my brother, I found another safe space. I found another way to get it out that I didn't even know I needed. Y'all remember? Was it Trey? Trey from Boys in the Hood when he was air punching when he walked to the house with Nia Long. Yeah, that's how I feel on the inside. And it needs to come out. That's how all of us feel sometimes, truth be told. And it has to come out. So let's get into it. You know, I done filibustered a lot here today. But it's been good. It's been real conversation. Because we all go through those times and those moments when we need that outlet, but we just don't know. You know, we love our families, but oh my God. Not today, y'all. Yes, boo. My eyes it be hot. You know, my face be sweating, my back and my legs, my eyes, you know, it be hot, you know. And we do the physical activity stuff. Some of us draw, paint, write, journal. We meditate, those relaxation techniques. Hobbies, interests. Me is fishing. Some people is gardening. And self-care. Therapeutic activities. I've covered, matter of fact, I got a list right here. Number one on that list was physical activities. As far as safe outlets. Nobody's gonna judge you when you're in the gym lifting. When you're drawing, when you're writing, when you're journaling, that's a creative expression. That's the second thing. Physical activities, creative outlets or expressions, social connections, joining groups, joining organizations, getting around people that can understand you, doing activities that you can mutually do together, volunteering, doing community service are all social connections. Relaxation techniques, meditation, mindfulness, deep breathing exercises, aromatherapy, taking baths or spending time in nature. Number 5, hobbies and interests, gardening, cooking, baking, traveling, exploring new places. All these are things that are safe outlets for you. Self-care practices, maintaining a balanced diet, getting adequate sleep, practicing good hygiene. You'd be surprised how nice a shower can make you feel. Something about the water flowing over you, something about washing away the dirt. Because if you're sitting there in a funk, ain't no need to be funky as well, physically, right? Showers make you feel good. Make you feel better at least. And then therapeutic activities was number 7. Talking to a therapist or counselor, attending support groups, engaging in cognitive behavior techniques. But there's a 8th thing that didn't make it to this particular list. And that was the go off.
I'm a pimp named Slickback.
Sometimes you just gotta let it out. You gotta go off. You gotta scream. You gotta shout. You gotta yell. Sometimes you need that release. Because those other 7 things, they might work individually, they might work collectively, but sometimes you can get so bogged down. That chick here said, don't be walking around smelling like an all-the-way hot dog. Woo. Can I get extra onions on that, please? Yeah. Sometimes the go off is real. Sometimes you need to snap. Just try not to do it on other people. Because remember, yes, you're going through what you're going through. But your supervisor at work, the CEO of the company, your children, your significant other, your parents, your siblings, they all are living very similar lives. They all have their stressors, their own anxiety. Now, it's best to go off in a safe place, whether that's in your car, where you riding down the highway, if you want to go to the lake and scream and shout. Because no matter how good your therapist is, no matter how great of friends you have, everybody can't handle your real thoughts. Because sometimes we don't have the nicest thoughts. I might be the only one that feel that way. I know I'm not. Sometimes we don't have the nicest thoughts. And we think things that we would never say out loud. We would never do. But the thought of certain things floats across our mind from time to time. We have dreams that bog us down, that scare us. And then on top of that, when you're feeling off, not only are you not taking care of your personal hygiene, but you're not taking care of yourself. You're not taking care of those you love. That's that slide into depression. You still go to work, but you're half doing things there. You're still taking care of your family, but bare minimum efforts. Auntie Canada said, "Oh, go to the mountaintop and scream." Yeah, you have to let it out. Now, thankfully, I wasn't going off on my brother. I was just going off. And he was a party to it. He was a witness to my explosion. And I think it was a healthy explosion because it actually allowed me to get some things out that I had been thinking and pondering, some things that I wasn't quite sure about, but some real feelings that I had. He was a party to it. And he didn't judge me. He didn't criticize me for saying or feeling the way that I felt. He just let me be me in that moment. So today we've talked about we talked about 8 things today. Sorry my monologue was so long, but I really needed to paint the full picture of how it applied to me, what I've been going through, where I've been, and how that stress builds. It doesn't go anywhere, it just builds. You may knock a little bit of it down, but it continues to build if you don't find safe outlets, safe spaces to let these things go. And you need all of them. You need all of them. Let me give you that list again. Not that list, hold on, this is another list. Physical activity is number 1. Creative expression is number 2. Social connections is number 3. Relaxation is number 4. Hobbies and interests are 5. Self-care practices are 6. Therapeutic activities, number 7. And finally, number 8, shout it from the mountaintop. Scream. Let it go. Yeah, Auntie Canada, it was a safe space with my brother. I'm not sure he's ever heard me with that level of energy before. Maybe he have. I'm not sure. But for me, I think it was the first that I let go in front of somebody in that manner. I know I've gotten close a couple of times, but my real thoughts, I had some language that came out that not typical of of my conversation, but it was needed. And afterwards, I apologized to him, and I said, "My bad, bro. I ain't mean to give you all that energy." I would say I was kind of embarrassed. I really wasn't, though. It was just, I can't believe I just let all that out, kind of thing. But I was glad that I did. Because over the next couple of months, I got a lot of work to do. And I wouldn't have been able to do it if my stress level was that high. And I'm the king of compartmentalization. I promise you I am. I know how to put things in a small box and put it in the back of my mind very easily. Doesn't take a lot of thought or effort from me. I can compartmentalize with the best of them. But at some point, you get too many boxes back there. It's too many locked away things back there, and they begin to leak. The wrapping begins to deteriorate. And it eventually begins to come out. And then there's an explosion that happens. And normally it happens in the wrong setting, at the wrong time. And all it does is create more problems, bigger problems, more drama. It damages relationships. So this week, or on Wednesday, we're going to talk a little bit more about it. We're going to go through some we're going to go through some tips on not just what to do, but why the need, the dangers of some of the stressors that we face. What does it look like to be in a safe space? Who can you trust? We're going to go down the line on it on Wednesday. Today, as I do on the first day of the week, I like to do more of a intro, a warm-up. I mean, this thing ain't letting me do nothing that I want to do right now. Anywho, it's Monday, so it is what it is. But I'm not stressed about it. I don't feel no way about it because guess what? I am not stressed. Y'all remember the movie Atlanta or ATL with T.I. and I forget the other dude's name. Uncle George. I got some cutty last night. Oh, man. So, yeah, it's not just one technique that we need to know. We need to learn all the techniques because we never know which one we're going to need more so than the other. And all things don't work the same way, the same time. What used to work for you as you change, as you grow, that changes as well. So we got to be well versed in how to take care of ourselves. We just have to be. And shout out again to y'all know my brother.
How you doing, brother Craig? How you doing?
Oh, man. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a thumbs up, like, leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so. We got more and better content coming down the road. Auntie Canada said, we need this so that we don't have multiple exploding volcanoes. That's right. And it's good to let it out. I know there's protocol, there's decorum. But sometimes you gotta get that demon out you. You gotta get that monkey off your back. Some of us are being tormented every day by the thoughts of what if. by jobs, by family, dreams. We're being tormented. And that stress level is only getting higher and higher. We're not sleeping right. We're not eating right. We got to find outlets. So whatever those outlets are for you, whatever they are, use them. I hope you were able to pick up more from today's show because they all matter. There's no one solution, no one little pill that's going to work it out. Life is a journey, and the journey is about making sure you have the optimal stuff you need to be successful. So whether that's talking to a therapist to unpack some childhood traumas, whether it's screaming and yelling with your brother in the car, whether it's mani-pedis, walks in nature, creating, volunteering, find what works for you. But whatever you do, don't sit in those sad spaces. Don't stay there because they only multiply and stack on top of each other. Find ways to be healthy. Find ways to relieve that stress and all that pressure. All right, y'all. That's the show for today. Y'all have an amazing Monday. Have a great Tuesday. And I will see you on Wednesday. Always strive for greatness. Peace.